Basic Binges, part of Nom Talk Network. I'm going to make everything sound like this. Today, we are talking about Stranger Things episodes 3 and 4. We will also be talking about food. We review popular shows on this channel and as part of our network, while also potentially eating and drinking. Sometimes we mix it up and we don't. I realize that I don't have anything to eat or drink, so that's why I'm tossing that out there. But I know, hey, heck yeah, we've got Skittles in the room, in the virtual room. So yes, I am your host, Amy Cassandra Martinez, and right now I am so excited to be chatting with all of y'all. We have the chat open. I have it here. That's too much of me there. So get any questions, concerns, comments, feedback. I don't know. Tell us what you're eating, what you're drinking right now. Let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest for the day, starting with Erric. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Erric. Actor, singer, performer. Was here last week. Super enjoyed it and so glad to be back.
Heck yeah. And we've got Johnny.
Hey guys, I'm Johnny. I have been putting out a lot of resumes out and everything's content creating. I'm a filmmaker. I went to school for film. I don't mean to be an old snob, but if it's video editing, I got that. We'll just put the umbrella of content creator so I can sound young and hip.
Yeah, easy. Do people say that? If not, they should, because I just said it. So I don't know. It sounds cool. Something else that sounds cool, Rolo, Sprinkles, the Dragon Cat in the chat is having Rolos. Have y'all ever had Rolos?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite chocolate things.
Well, being Filipino, the word for grandpa is Lolo. So
yeah.
If we had Rolos, then even better.
What is in a Rolo? What is a Rolo?
Caramel?
I don't even know what it is. Truly.
Is it peanut butter or caramel? Sprinkles. Sprinkles.
Caramel.
Tell us, Sprinkles.
Yeah. Nom Talk Network says Rolos, yum. I'm sure they taste delicious. Are they a candy bar?
No, it looks like a little thimble almost.
Yeah, it's like a chocolate thimble.
Filled with caramel, I think.
Chocolate and caramel, yeah. Yeah.
Chocolate, whoa.
I'm surprised they haven't changed their marketing to be like YOLO, get some Rolos.
Hey.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
See, that's very much welcome. This is also part, advertising, nice slogan. So if we have any, we're going to toss them out there. Okay. So today, like I said, we're going to be touching on episodes 3 and 4 of Stranger Things. We have so much to get into, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. We will be bouncing around episodes 3 and 4, so spoilers, of course. And as always, I will be bringing up food-related things. So if you haven't eaten right now, it's the perfect time to grab a snack, get cozy, and chat along with us. Okay, so we got Crystal in the chat as well. Yes, and delicious. So Crystal, are you drinking or eating anything right now? If you are, let us know. Okay, so let's kick it off by with the first little piece of food that we see in episode 3, and that's risotto. Murray made risotto, which I just love because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like risotto doesn't get enough time to shine in the entertainment business, in movies and TV shows. I mean, I used to watch Hell's Kitchen and risotto had its time there. But I want to know just kind of from everyone, just because it's kind of random, like Murray's so pumped about his risotto. How do y'all feel about risotto? Let's start with Johnny.
I'm a bad Italian, and I'm not one way or another about risotto, but I do want to give props to anyone who has like their signature like dish. Like if you like it's Thanksgiving or whatever, like my thing I really love to make is mac and cheese casserole.
Ooh.
Thanksgiving bacon mac and cheese for me.
It's like I have a family friend who made it one year, and I was like, I have to do it next year, and it was nowhere near as good. And I remember one of my first one of my first Christmases with the future in-laws, they were like, what do you want? I'm like, I want a casserole dish so I can make this for you guys, you know? And it was such a weird ask to ask your future in-laws. So, casserole dish, bitch.
Nice. I like green bean casserole, so I'm with you there. Eric, risotto, yay, nay?
I don't ever actually think I've eaten risotto. I was just thinking about it like today when I was thinking about the episode. I don't know if I've actually eaten risotto, but I do appreciate that was Murray's go-to, like everybody's sitting at the table, nothing's wrong. Let me cook this delicious thing that's going to make you all quiet, hopefully, and not ask any questions.
Yeah, like everybody at the table was, you know, because I didn't grow up in a sit down for dinner table, but it's funny that the parents are hiding something as well as the kids hiding something. And it makes for great awkwardness that everyone's just like, oh, I'm just going to Alaska for the Britannica family, you know?
Well, I do have to appreciate too that Jonathan's like hiding two things because he's hiding what just happened, but also he's stoned out of his mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that mom would be like, Jonathan, what's wrong with you? A good parent would just be like, my kid is stoned.
Well, Murray knew. He was just like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murray is in the know. Sprinkle's saying Murray made that risotto look good. Crystal already ate. She had watermelon. Oh, heck yeah. Watermelon. It is time for watermelon.
I'm allergic.
No.
Break out in hives.
Oh, sorry.
I haven't tried it since I was a teenager. We have a half a watermelon in the fridge and it's completely covered. And I'm half like ready. I'm like half ready to try and see if I'm not, you know, get an EpiPen, you know?
Oh my gosh. No, please.
It's just rashes.
Give you the next episode. No, just kidding. Well, risotto talk is officially over because I want to talk about everything else that's happening. I feel like there's so many different pairings, and we talked about this last show, about the previous episodes, but I feel like they're starting to combine, which for me is like really exciting because we're getting to see some dynamics between people that we haven't. And I'm going to go ahead and just start off with my favorite one, which is Robin and Nancy. We are going to be jumping around, like I said. So we're going to go from the beginning of episode 3 into 4. Robin and Nancy actually end up teaming up. Who wants to talk about their friendship, like blossoming on our screens, and how that made you feel, Eric?
I actually think this is a great pair between, because she's been partnered with Steve and Jonathan and everything, to where Robin's going to actually pick up what Nancy's doing and just kind of go with her, and they're going to protect each other's girl power. Come on. Like,
oh yeah,
they're going to find it sleuth. They're the Mary-Kate and Ashley of Stranger Things.
Oh, we should have that somewhere. The Mary-Kate and Ashley of Stranger Things. I'll put that on a poster.
Right? But it's great, especially when they were in the library looking for things. Like, they never said no to each other, really, but they just kept pushing each other further and further. And I love it.
Like a Nancy Drew. Like, they should, you know what? So here's a fanfic for you. Take this world and run with it. It should be like a series of books in an offshoot world where they do know each other and they're solving little like Hawkins mysteries, like who stole the cat, or, you know, Mr. Jenkins is up to it again, you know?
Yeah, I would be so down for that. And I feel like it's interesting because Steve was actually going to volunteer himself to go with Nancy to check out basically what she has, like a hunch about Victor Creel, like everything that's happening with that. And then he gets stuck with the kids again.
Well, like he said, he's always the babysitter. That's cool. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like, and they have a great dynamic. So let's touch on them. It's basically a chunk of the kids and Steve. They are basically still protecting Eddie and, like, you know, hiding him away. And they bring him like groceries. It's basically a DoorDash delivery full of groceries, Instacart kind of situation. And the biggest thing that I saw with what Eddie was inhaling when everyone got there was honeycomb. I want to say honeycombs. but I didn't see an S on the box. But that's cereal, so
Mandela effect. Does it have an S?
Does it have an S? I don't know. And this actually ties in with something that we see in a later episode 4. Hopper, when he runs away, escapes, woohoo, yay Hopper! He ends up finding and really like chowing down Jif peanut butter. It's creamy peanut butter. So I have a couple of questions there. My cat wants to say hi. Hello, this is E.T. Hello. Whoa. You can see the reflection of the little red light saying that we're live. We are live, honey. Run on the keyboard. Yes, you are. Okay. So questions. If you have gone a long period of time without being able to eat something, whether it's because of braces or surgery or anything like that, what is that one thing that you just like, you know, does that make sense? That, and also peanut butter, creamy or crunchy or none of it? Who wants to go? Okay, Eric, what? Crunchy?
Crunchy peanut butter.
Crunchy peanut butter. Okay.
Yes, crunchy peanut butter to be specific. Like that's my favorite kind of peanut butter. Extra crunchy. I'm a weirdo. I love it.
Okay.
And then food that like would go back after not being able to eat of all time, pizza. Pizza's my go-to anytime.
Pizza. Okay. Johnny?
So I think there's a immediate one and there's like Jesus one. And the immediate one is just quite super simple. I would straight up just go for pizza. Little CC's, as I like to call it. They had the Batman promo recently where you got a calzone, but it was in the shape of Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
So Little C's, it's cheap. I'm cheap. It works great. But if I had to go like this, it would have to be either musubi or sushi.
Masubi.
Musubi. It's a very Pacific Islander-y.
Oh, I know. I love it.
Like jam. And I'm all for it.
Crunchy or creamy?
Crunchy or creamy? Oh, just creamy, like me.
Creamy?
Anyway, no, creamy.
Does that make me crunchy? Oh.
Creamy. Well, I think I'm gonna, what is it? Not even out the playing field, but we're gonna have a clear winner. I'm creamy. Creamy. Well, and it's weird though, because I wouldn't say, I don't really like peanut butter. So I would say almond butter. Creamy almond butter.
Sorry about the creamy dance.
Now, in the chat, we've got people saying, okay, Sprinkle says creamy. 3 for creamy, 1 for crunchy. So I'm gonna choose crunchy. Crystal says, I can't eat gluten, but oh my gosh, been craving sourdough bread for years now. I like some crunch and some creamy peanut butter. So that's
Brillantes says crunchy.
Yes.
crunchy. Hey,
Brillantes
crunchy.
says crunchy. Here's my thing about crunchy. It's like Rocky Road. To me, I just don't like that texture. I don't want surprises.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise. You know it's there. You
No,
know
but
it's there.
It's a surprise because with every bite, you don't know if it's going to be crunchy or not.
Are you gonna get it? You're not gonna get it? It's not like
big.
it's not like Lucky Charms where you're just like, oh, bonus! I got a marshmallow from all this boring wheat. You know, it's like peanut butter's great already. I like, it's just. It's, you know what? Much like everything and everything should be in life, that's cool, but it's just not for me. By all means, to anybody who celebrates it and anybody who wants it, you can have it. The more for you,
There's something that Sprinkles brings up, which I wholeheartedly agree, and this also applies to almond butter. They said, I'm pretty sure no one wants the peanut butter you have to stir. I don't like having to stir it. It like icks me out. Like, I know that's not proper terminology, but like, I don't like seeing stuff like just the liquid on top. I'm not about that. Hopper didn't have to stir anything. He didn't have time to stir, so it worked out.
Speaking of stir and peanut butter and stuff, it has always grossed me out if anyone just went and then just did that. I know I've been in a Russian prison or whatever, but I'd be like, where's the spoon? There's got to be a spoon somewhere.
Hopper did not throw out a spoon.
And with that as well, people who like get the like knife or anything, dip it in there, and then put it on bread, lick it, and then put it back in. No, that's not the jam.
No, I don't like when like you have not a sauce, but yeah, something like peanut butter, that kind of consistency, and it's just like on one end, or it's just like ugly. If you can make it pretty, make it pretty. Why not?
Well,
You know, especially like Cool Whip or something like that. Yeah, for sure. Cue Ball says crunchy is good, but my favorite is creamy peanut butter. But if there's a half can of crunchy peanut butter left, I put sugar in it and mix it up. So good.
Oh,
It's salty, it's sweet.
diabetes, let's go.
I mean, look, if you have the recipe, Cue Ball, feel free to share it. And also, what do you like? Do you just like straight up have the peanut butter, or do you put it on anything? I went through a phase a few years for like really just craving apples and almond butter, creamy. So that's, yeah. I know a lot of people have it with celery. Yeah, or do you just like hopper style? We're just gonna call it hopper style. You just have it by itself. Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into Eggos. We're really going to be talking a lot about food today and how it relates to everyone, because there was a lot of like really cool food things going on. And don't worry, y'all, we will end it with Max, because we got to give her some time. Oh, Max. Okay, so this next question that I have for y'all, we got this shot of Eggos on a plate. They were 4L/11/Jane. And I wanted to ask y'all, and this obviously this goes for everyone watching. Is there a food that is so closely associated with the character that y'all can think of that's similar to Eggos and 11? So I mean, obviously you see Eggos, you're like 11. Are there foods like that? Like, are we? And if so, which ones are they? Yeah.
I got one and I'm ready.
Okay, go.
Producer Stephanie, get ready for a graphic. Are you ready for this? It's the TMNT and pizza.
that's what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, like you can't be like Ghostbusters and marshmallows because you don't see that. It's like it's a subtle thing. I'm a little older. My reference is going to be a lot older, but you know, SpongeBob Krabby Patties, like you know, what else? Bob's Burgers.
Oh my God! Why did I think of that? Yes.
Like
Yes.
Pun Burgers.
Yeah. Honey burgers.
What else? What else we got? What do you think?
I was gonna say TMNT too. That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Classic. It's almost as if in the graphic that the turtles are sitting on the couch. That was great. Quick graphics, by the way. Yeah. Popeye and spinach. Popeye and
yeah.
spinach.
Oh. Yeah, I feel bad. I do have spinach and I don't think about Popeye, but
Mario
I do
and
think
mushroom.
about. Well, do you guys think of that Family Feud thing where it was like around everywhere? The question was like, "What's Popeye's favorite food?" or something, and this girl said chicken.
Yeah.
Like,
And there was only one answer. One answer.
I think about her frequently. Yeah, she's great. Good for her. I mean, well, not so good because they didn't win. But I think about that more than I think about Popeye. But that's true. That's true. Sprinkle says Krusty Burgers. Yeah. Crystal. Yeah. Popeye and spinach. And Q-Wall saying, hey, Q-Wall, I want the recipe for that. No judgments, for sure. I want the recipe for your concoction because who knows? I feel like a lot of different, combinations of food or like different kinds of food happen on accident. And it's like, oh my God, like, you know, I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure they've had like potato chips. I feel like that was an accident. So heck yeah. Q-Ball says, I love pizza. My favorite sausage pizza, but I love the meat lovers pizza from Pizza Hut, which brings us into our next topic of conversation, which is something that was so highly requested by Eric. Okay. Which is pizza, pineapples on pizza. I like how I said pineapples, not multiple, but just
Like
pineapple on
like
pizza. Yeah. Yay, nay, thoughts? Eric, we gotta go to you first.
Come on, ham and pineapple pizza, delicious. I've been eating that since the 80s. Like it was just a thing to go to.
Yeah. Crystal's saying no. I'm with you, Crystal. But I also just don't like warm fruits. I don't like pies that have fruit in them, except for boysenberry pie. I had that once, but it was kind of lukewarm, so I don't know. But I don't like apple pie. I don't like fruits on salad. I'm weird with fruits, y'all. But if you have strong opinions about pineapple being on pizza or not being on pizza, we definitely want to hear it from you. Johnny, yay, nay?
Hey, the fiance is all about it. I am not entirely, but I'm not. I'm the most gray vanilla son of a bitch that's ever been on this show. Okay, so I really don't like. I'm like the gray planet from Futurama. I feel no particular way, which makes for a great guest. But to be honest, I used to work at a pizzeria when I lived in Alameda, and it wasn't called Tucker's. This was an ice cream place down the block from the place where I worked, and we had, I think it was like called the Surf's Up or something. But I never really was a pineapple person until I had it at this pizzeria, and that's now permanently closed. I don't know if COVID or whatever, but I worked there, or they just decided, Johnny's not here anymore. It's not worth going to. But anyway, no, this pizza place was really great because what they did was they accented it with barbecue, and it was a deep dish pineapple.
Oh,
so that I was all for that because of the barbecue, and then they slapped a bunch. It wasn't just like usually when you get a Hawaiian, it's like Canadian bacon, pineapple, and then it's the same thing. This was like, it was thick, and it had I don't know, just
it had depth to it.
It had depth. It had meaning to the pizza. This is coming from an Italian guy. You got to have meaning in your pizza.
I like how we did this. Look, I guess the most important part is, if you've tried it, let us know. Because look, as much as I'm like, I don't like it, I've never actually tried it because I'm too scared. So you brave souls that you have, and you're like, look, I tried it, not for me. I commend you. Cue ball, I tried it. It was okay, but I think it's because people want a little bit of sweetness to their pizza, which makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Nom Talk Network says, loving the sweet and salty combination of pineapple on pizza. Hashtag Gracie says, no to pineapple on my pizza. Sprinkle says, I like pizza in general, so yes, except anchovies. I don't think I've ever gotten anchovies. No. I've never been brave enough to try that either. Okay, so let's put a little break on the food because my mouth is salivating. And let's talk about Mike and Elle and everything that happens with 11 in these 2 episodes. I have to say, one of my most favorite parts that happened was the realization that Elle had that, like, her and Mike aren't as close as they were. Not so much because, like, yay, 11's in pain. No, but it was so intense. And I want to know how y'all felt, especially the part where Mike basically says, I care for you. And then she says, you don't love me? What? And then she brings the receipts. You can't even write it. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. What was going on in your heart? And in
like the bring the receipts.
Yeah, right?
Bring the receipts. What a great good button.
Yeah. Thoughts? How did we feel about it, everyone? Like, I was heartbroken. I was like, oh. But true. He hasn't said that. From Mike. That's what she says. Oh. I watched it over and over again. So I was like, oh, this is so good. Johnny.
Not to be an old man. Again, old man response to this. But these are children having a children argument. Like they depict the small things that, I mean, when you're in the beginning of a relationship, when you're just in your first relationship and stuff like that, you can't really articulate to say like, I need you to say this, and I need to feel your expression of love in this way, you know? And for Elle, who has a stunted childhood, for anybody who has childhood PTSD, like she clearly has, there's a lot of things that because she's clearly in the first episode putting on a show of, I'm popular, she wants to fit in, she's trying to do that thing. So she's trying to do the paint by numbers. She's trying to do the thing that kids do when they try to find themselves. They don't know, and they don't know how to communicate, especially. And not only that, like I don't mean to lean one way or another, like outwardly saying I would probably be Mike and be like, how do you expect me to know this? But then I'd also be like Elle, where I'm I'm a kind of a weepy, emotional, like I'd be the Elle if I'm being really honest with myself. I'd be the Jamie.
Same.
I mean, well, if you look at it, the relationship between them is the same that happened in season 3 with them breaking up and fighting. He really didn't communicate with her, and he's still not doing that. Even though at the end of it, she said, I love you, he still never said that. I don't think, can articulate it enough, even though he knows it. He can't bring that up to her because she is so fragile and emotional. He doesn't want to overwhelm her, I don't think.
Also, let's look to the men in Mike's life. What is his dad like? How does he learn how to communicate? Like, most of the men in his life are his peers who are just figuring themselves out too. So like he barely knows Hopper. He knows Hopper is this like oppressive like dad of the girl that he's dating, and just like what's his understanding of masculinity? What's his understanding of relationships?
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair on that aspect, with Elle's relationships with men, she didn't find out Hopper's feelings until the end of season 3 with the letter. He didn't actually ever tell her. No guy's actually ever told her. So
one of the hands down best scenes in 2 is they're off doing stranger things, and Will's, I think, in the hospital, or Will's at the lab, and he's there with Joyce, and he goes to his truck, which I miss that truck for one. 2, he has the radio and he apologizes to her and he talks to her. That is probably one of, if not to me, the best Hopper, if not Stranger Things scene in the series. No one's hearing it. He's saying it for himself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see, as the season continues, to see like what happens with Elle and what happens with her relationship with Mike and with Hopper. Because, I mean, there's so much that we're not going to get into yet. Obviously, we're just on episodes 3 and 4, but everything is just so discombobulated that it's like, Sprinkles says Mike loves her, but he also hasn't seen her in a while, so communications is off. And yeah, I mean, that's so true. I think things are only going to get bumpier as, everything else happens. But, oh yeah, go.
I completely agree with that, because even look at his relationship with Will. That is completely thrown apart. It's completely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which is very, very sad as well.
I feel so bad for Will. Will, this isn't going into other episodes, but there is this theory, and I want to know from y'all, that birthday party, I gave it away, but that party at the Rinkorama, was that actually Will's birthday? That day, was that his birthday? Because Jonathan says, hey, have fun. And when they're looking at, there's something, but there's a date stamped on that thing that happens. And it's actually Will's birthday. It's like everything lines up. So do y'all think that really was his birthday? Or
I do not remember.
I don't remember that, but that
yeah,
makes it even more sad.
Producer Stephanie.
It's like this whole thing, and I was like, wait, what? So yeah.
I would say the point that he makes, where he's just like, we haven't even connected, and like from friend to friend, or maybe more, and your friend, because in the previous season he was just like, did you expect us to be playing Dungeons and Dragons forever? Didn't think we'd get girlfriends. And then now Will says, you didn't even ask how, or something like, what about us? And Mike is just like, what do you mean us? We're friends. And like, we don't know what he was painting, all this other stuff. Like,
Justice for Will, honestly. Like, Will deserves all the happiness in the world. Will's gone through so much. So I'm hoping that develops as well. What do y'all have hopes for Will? What would ultimately? Eric?
I just hope he comes into his own. Because like the first season, everybody bonded looking for him. Second season, he was kind of in it, but again, taken out because he was attacked again. Third season, like he knew what was going on. That was the real first time he was in it to fight with them. So he's kind of like behind the curve of everybody else. So I think he just feels very lost. I did appreciate him though when Elle's getting bullied in the first couple of episodes. Just like that look of like, it'll be okay. I'm here to help you. I'm going through this with you. I've been there. But nobody ever turns and looks at him. So I just hope his life, for the term, it gets better.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you'd like to add, Johnny?
Super, super, super true. It gets better anytime, because child trauma, grief is a very big part of my life. And the concept of telling someone that it gets better is very important. Now, sometimes like it doesn't get better, or it takes forever to get better, but that doesn't mean that there's no hope at the end of the light. I mean, there is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and how that manifests is something we will never know. So if someone's religious, they call it God. If someone calls it this or that, or whatever their faith is, like the be all end all is that the process of living and the process of like going through things is that it's not easy in the moment, and there is definitely something to look forward to in the end, especially for him. I mean, if it's a haircut, then that's what I wish for Will.
I mean,
he has to look good as Sinclair, because Sinclair's hair is on point. That's,
Look, it's nuts. Someone else who I'm still like, oh my God, they give her like, Elle doesn't necessarily look like Joyce, but she's giving Joyce vibes, even though she's like, I don't know, 30 years younger or so. But let's talk about Elle. My God, everything that she goes through is going to set us up for the rest of the season. But let's use the jumping off point as the moment where she's talking to Mike, and she's like, I saw the way you looked at me. This is the aftermath of, Angela. And she just feels like a monster. And she describes herself. She's like, I'm a monster. And then they have that fight. And then she says, like, do you love me? And then he basically says, you're a superhero. And she ends it with, not anymore. So she's really struggling to find out. Yeah, Johnny, what?
I've got a maybe personal question, and it may be way out there. Drop it in the chat, whatever. Have you ever gotten to a fight in school? Or off, just like with, like under, like you're a minor, and it's whether playground or a birthday party or whatever. Have you gotten into a fight? I've gotten in when I was in the 5th grade. I had a very it changed my life fight, and it's when you're a kid, it's the world, like the world. It takes so less. It takes so less to fill your cup of anger, to fill your whatever. If you're bullied at school, did you ever fight back? And the feeling, especially being cis hetero boy, like there's a lot of machismo, there's a lot of like, I deserve respect this way, like don't call me that, whatever, stop picking on me. Like there's a lot of that. Because it was basically I was bullied by this kid who wants to be friends with me on Facebook. And I haven't responded to it in a couple of years. Weird. But like, to stand up for yourself or to lash out like broadly as she did, and as admittedly I did in the 5th grade. But it honestly changed my life, and it shapes who you are as a person. And I think this will definitely shape who Elle was.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking back, like, because she stood up from the bullies that were bullying Will and Mike and all of them in the first season, remember?
Yeah.
In season one. So that's what she had. So the first episode when she screamed and her powers didn't work, now she's figuring it out. And so finally, boiling point, this girl's being mean to me. I can't do anything. She just embarrassed me beyond anything because I made my life seem so important. Like you said, a life-changing fight. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
she
helpless.
still deserved it though. So don't
And a lot of
provoke
people-
violence, but she deserved it.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and the feeling of helplessness.
Mhm.
You know?
Sprinkles in the chat is sharing, and I want to thank y'all so much for being so open and creating the safe space for all of us to be able to talk about this. Sprinkles is saying, yeah, I was bullied constantly at school, so yes. After I fought back, they left me alone. Wow.
Because especially as a kid, you
Oh my
can't
God.
come up with a zinger, and taking a high road is so hard to do. It's not like, Dawson's Creek where someone can have a freaking monologue or someone has the right thing to say at the right moment to cut someone.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. It's hard to be a child. And with online and bullying, and it's a wild world. Like, it's so much more different now than it was then.
Well, and I was about to bring that up. Back then, it was different. Bullying was way different.
Yeah.
Because parents sometimes were oblivious to what was happening because, like Elle, you made your life seem that it was better so nobody else would know. So the bullying back then, not online, not on phone, it was actual physical. So if nobody saw it, it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why oftentimes parents were like, my kid wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. So that's why Elle, I feel like, hit her because nobody was believing her.
And there's a lot to say for parents that my kid would never do that. But especially when you're a teenager, you're developing who you are,
Crystal said, yes, I was also bullied and knocked down in the bathroom. Cue Ball says, I was bullied in school as well. It has affected me, but I don't let it define me. I have no words except I'm so sorry that any of y'all went through anything remotely horrible. And I'm glad that y'all are here. And I'm glad that, Cue Ball, you put it very, very nicely that you didn't let it define you. Heck yeah. Let's send a little bit of love to everyone watching right now, anyone that's gone through a tough time during that. Maybe this will also open up people's ideas of treating people nicely. If they're watching Stranger Things, it's like, I don't know. I think that's sometimes the hope for some shows, right? To open up conversations and to maybe take yourself out of the equation and be like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have said that. Or you grow up and realize, oh, maybe I should apologize for that one thing I did in high school. Maybe they don't remember, but maybe I'll apologize. It's just constantly about trying to be a better human being.
There's like two things I want to mention. One, part of the reason why I feel like I came out of that standing up for myself or that fight or whatever is because I had a man in my life. I had my grandfather to not teach me, this is how you fight back. Like, that was not his vibe. His vibe, he knew the kind of bullying, how it affected me. I was this very sensitive kid, and he knew that, that violence in fighting, he knew as an Italian, we get pretty feisty. Like, we're pretty feisty. We have a short fuse, especially in my family. But the thing is that we know not to, we're like Batman, don't cross that line, And to that, happy Father's Day to all the fathers either watching or supporting, and all the mothers who are fathers, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Eric, was there anything you wanted to add?
Oh, no, I completely agree with what he was saying.
Heck yeah. All right, so we're gonna, goodness, I feel like I want to bring this up really quickly. We don't have to talk about it too much, but I was like, what the heck? Joyce, when her and Murray are on their way to go and hopefully find Hopper, we get a shot of Joy looking at her airline food, and she's just like, mm-hmm. And what I saw were some lovely biscuits with some gravy and sweet peas, and I was like, what the heck, Joyce? And then we cut to Hopper getting mush served on his plate, and then Hopper uses his food and bread as a way to trade. like kind of barter so that he can try to escape, which I think is crazy. So I guess a quick question, have y'all ever had good airline food? Ever?
No.
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 Like a bag of like pretzels because I don't fly far. So like a little bag of like really dry pretzels and like a $6 Coke.
Oh my God, Coke. The drinks are so expensive for sure. Yeah. You, Johnny?
I would say I've never been on a, I was almost going to say I've never been on a plane long enough to need a meal, but that's not true because the longest plane ride I've ever been on was from California to Italy and Italy to California. I don't even remember the food because it was like 20-ish years ago. But I will say that now most of my flights or like in adult, flights, get a drink, get booze either before or during the plane. Like I just like, even if it's, you can, I don't know. That's my thing is have a cocktail on the plane.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I definitely need a little something. I hate flying. But I do have an answer myself. One of my first like big trips, it was in high school. It's part of my orchestra, and we went to play Carnegie Hall. It was like a whole thing. It was fantastic. On our way over there, we did get fed, which was amazing. And it was, no joke, it was probably like the simplest like chicken, like breaded chicken burger thing. But I can't even tell you, it was so magical. It tasted so good. I was like, this is the best meal I've had on a plane. It was the only meal I'd had on a plane. It was so good. And then it was like, woohoo, we're in New York. Welcome to New York. So that was a great experience. Cue ball, I saw, Nom Talk Network. Okay, Korean Air has pretty decent food. Ooh, protein, carbs, veggies, all at once. Can y'all help me say this word? The bibimbap isn't too bad. How do I say that? Bibimbap? Bibimbap? I've always wanted to learn. Bibimbap. Bibimbap.
Sounds like a dance challenge.
I've heard of it. So that isn't too bad. Sprinkle says, nope, average food. Crystal, Air Mexico. Yes, tamales. Oh, really? Well, guys, let's take this on the road. Let's take this in the air. Let's go. Heck yeah.
Now you see my cat.
Oh, hi, baby. Hello. What's your name, cutie patootie? Look at you.
Since we're talking about food, this is Pancake.
Hey.
Gotta go steal a cat. Where's it? Give me somebody to throw a cat in my hands.
Pancake. Oh my God. That's adorable. I love it so much. Okay. So I think we're just going to go ahead and dive into the last two people that I really want to focus on for the rest of the time. We're going to start off with Mr. Robert England, because we have to. And then we're going to end it with Max. So start getting your answers ready for your song that would save you from Vecna. Start getting those going in the chat. So, Robert England, just gush. Eric, go.
I loved it. Like, that's very much what I'm loving about the season is the Nightmare on Elm Street kind of vibe, kind of more mental. I'm loving it. And him being there for it, perfect.
Oh, and the ice. Oh, you know what?
Story part of him just telling the story was top notch. I really loved what they did with that.
It's crazy because as actors, the main thing that you have are your eyes to be able to convey how you're feeling, what you're thinking. And the fact that he was able to do so much with his eyes closed, it's just like, Robert England. Johnny, thoughts?
So I want to also, obviously, Robert Englund was really cool to see. That guy he did so much with having his complete face covered, terrifying kids for decades. But let's also make note of the fact that this is a Silence of the Lambs reference as well.
Oh, yeah.
But you really don't have the same, Robert Englund doesn't necessarily have the same power that Hannibal Lecter has in that scene. But the vibes and the best thing about Stranger Things, and its play on nostalgia, it does a really good job of giving us the best of, but also kind of like kind of the worst of, you know, like, you know, 80s bullies, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But as far as Robert Englund is concerned, like, it was really, when his name pops up at the end of the credits, and you do that thing, like, before there was Instagram or before there was IMDb, it would drive me banana sandwich when I would watch something and just go, who's that actor? I can't look it up. I know that face. And then I was just like, but the older you get, the more you just like sit back and enjoy the movie. And then you have that confirmation in the end. You're like, fuck yeah, I called it, even though you didn't, you know?
I think we should give a shout out. I'm trying to look for his name. But the younger version of Victor Creel, the casting was amazing because he very much did look like Robert Englund. His nose, his eye placement. I would say even the kid did. Well, never mind. Nope, take it back. I'm not going to spoil anything. Never mind. So yes, wonderful casting. I mean, but of course, we're talking about, oh my God, Carmen Cuba. I thought it was Cuba. It's Cuba. Carmen Cuba, who does the casting for Stranger Things. Shout out. Because wow. Yeah. Okay. Now are we ready to talk about Max? Okay. Basically, I mean, I'm assuming everyone's seen this episode, these two episodes, because we've been getting very spoilery. Highlights of it, or I guess lowlights, because they're very sad. Max basically comes to the realization that Vecna is after her and that everything that she's gone through has made her very susceptible to be attacked by Vecna. She realizes, like, oh, wow, I had nightmares and like, you know, like hallucinations and things, like all of that's happening. And so she writes these letters to her friends and she visits her mom, who ends up not being her mom. And then we get the magical scene that is, you know, running up that hill moment with the headphones so that she could be saved. So everyone in the chat, if you had to have a song that would save you from Vecna, this is a song that you love wholeheartedly, that if you heard it, it would pull you out from the depths of this horrible place, what would it be? And also, what are we thinking about the performance that Sadie Sink gave? The everything that we saw, I mean, special effects, goodness, the script. I want to hear everything you have to say. Eric, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm really loving what they're doing with her character this season. Even though it's tragic, you actually see how talented she is. Especially like when she's sitting at the grave talking to Billy and reading him her letter. Like, that scene is just so heartbreaking to me and just shows you how vulnerable Max is, even though you meet her the previous season, or 2 seasons, she's like this tough, like tomboy kind of girl, and she's just so vulnerable, and it's so sad. But with her listening to Running Uphill and running to save herself, that was just such an empowering moment. I hope that continues through the rest of the season, of her kind of gaining back her power. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, the song that would save me is a couple of years later than where we're at in Stranger Things, but it's Faith by George Michael.
Because you gotta have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Favorite song ever.
I love that. Johnny, thoughts on Max and Vecna songs?
Okay, so thoughts on Max. The actress is doing a bang-up job as someone who is dealing with trauma, especially seeing her brother die. Like, having characters die in movies or in short-form stories can be very heavy-handed because you only have so much time to grow with the character, to see how they're grieving about it and all that kind of stuff. So they're doing a really great job with writing it that way. She's really doing a good job of executing it as an actress and bringing a lot of reality to it. My song, also, by the way, congratulations to Kate Bush for coming back on the charts. and you know, it's it's a very, you know, it's a very good song that, you know, that display that talks about gender and gender identity very well. Hands down, listen to the lyrics. I saw a Pitchfork with Big Boy from Outkast talking about it. Look it up. You don't know, you didn't think that Big Boy from Outkast was about as woke as he was, and I'm just like, Big Boy gets it. So when it comes to my song, I wouldn't say, have I got the Lord of the Rings hand thing? Do you ever notice like take a drink every time?
Simply
Mordor, like one of the
yeah.
I don't know. It's just, and then this, my Gandalf. Okay, wrong franchise, wrong IP. But no. So when it comes to music is very much part of my life. My grandpa used to like have scores, Vivaldi, like classical music, always in the house. And it was very important to me because that's how I connected with him. That's how, you know, I discovered music and stuff like that. My aunt Christine, like she was a very big, my first concert, Paula Abdul, I just wanted to see MC Scat Cat.
Nice.
Like, you want to get 80s, we'll get 80s, baby. Like, but I don't have one song. I have, since I was in my 20s, and iTunes did it before Spotify did it, which was like your top listened to songs, and specifically your top listened to songs specifically around this time. So in my 20s, I'm a musicphile. I came up with this playlist for every song that has ever meant anything to me. So it's not just like a mix, because at a certain point we evolve with music. You can't fit it all in one cassette. You can't fit it all in one CD. You can't hit Napster and wait for days for the right one. So what I did was I made the list. And whether or not I have a Spotify, or whether or not I have a iTunes or whatever, I just made sure that there's the list, and the list is there. And I was like, what's the one? I have everything from like the first song I remember, which is like one, my mom singing Silent Night to me. Like that was my lullaby as a baby, no matter what time of year it was. You know, I just dug Silent Night for some reason, probably because I want some goddamn peace and quiet. But but there's that. And then there's, you know, Kate Bush is really hopping, and someday down the line I may be like, remember when we were listening to that a lot? But I narrowed it down to Hans Zimmer, Lion King soundtrack. It's not just Hakuna Matata. You can't buy a t-shirt at Target from my song. It's Underneath the Stars. It will destroy me. I will become a puddle of goo. And if that goo can make its way out of Vecna's trap, then that's what it is, because it's spoilers if you haven't seen Lion King in the last 20 some odd years, but it's the song that obviously it's Under the Stars. It's when he puts his footprint in, he puts his hand in the footprint, and fathers and sons, you know, that super means a lot to me after yesterday. But you know what I mean? Like it's super important. Those songs that connect you to someone. And like, and my grandfather is like the person in humanity before this lady to be my person, you know? So.
Love that. Oh,
That's sweet.
I love it. Mine is You Send Me by Aretha Franklin. I also like Sam Cooke's version. That makes me feel like I'm like the main character in a movie, and like in like a woohoo, like walking down the street in New York, like that. So I totally love that. You know, we get to think about music that way, that it can really like help us if we're in a bad situation, hopefully not being tortured by Vecna. But that's something like music can help save us. So for y'all, Crystal said anything by Dolly Parton. Heck yeah. I really love Jolene. I mean, of course, there's a 9 to 5. Yeah, 9 to 5. Heck yeah.
2 doors down.
Which one?
2 doors down. They're laughing and drinking, having a party.
Oh.
Oh, really?
That's
oh, nice. Nice. Sprinkle says, my grandfather on my mom's side was a jazz pianist. So I agree with you on that, Johnny. Wow, yeah. Q-Ball says, my favorite songs from that era, Hold On Loosely by 38 Special, Fade to Black by Metallica, Saturday Night by High and Dry by Def Leppard, Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, yeah.
I want to challenge, especially Q-Ball's pretty much already got it going. try to put those in order of like when you first heard them or how much they mean to you. Like, I would recommend that edit for everybody. I call it an audio biography because it's autobiography. So if it takes you a moment, yeah.
I get it. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, goodness, I feel like these 2 episodes were probably some of my favorite episodes of Stranger Things ever. I especially love, I mean, we could really like do a hard deep dive into Max. But I feel like a lot of things can also, they apply to other things. So not to get like too intense too quickly, but a lot of people that suffer from depression, myself included, we can really relate to just like having people around you and like pulling you out of those depths, you know, having those people that can help you. And so that was so good. It was so good.
The montage is so well put together. You know, the running towards the light in slow motion, and then they cut and it's a blank screen. You're like, did she do it? That's good. That's good editing. That's good storytelling. But hands down, the actor who plays Sinclair, or no, even Max herself. Like, first of all, when Sinclair says, I don't need a letter. You don't need to do this. But then, and that ties into Will, or that ties into Mike and Elle's thing. But when Max says, I'm still here. Like, I'm still here. I made it. I'm still with you. I'm still in this. That montage is aces.
I feel like to tie everything together, what we've talked about today, shout out to all of y'all for being here, like watching us, yes, but also just being here and like making it another day. Good for you. We freaking did it. We're here talking about Stranger Things, and we will be here next Monday talking about episode 5 and 6. Oh my God. Wow. We are like really making our way through it, which is great. I'm so excited. Y'all continue the conversation, you know, going in. Well, you can't do it on Twitch after we finish here, but you can continue that conversation on YouTube. And so you can do that there. Follow us on all socials at Nom Talk Network. There it is. Yes. Thank you so much for, you know, chatting with us and opening up about different kinds of things and talking about food with us. Yes, John.
Lastly, just for Nom Talk and everything, what's the best cheese in Hawkins? Gemma Gorgonzola.
Oh.
No, that's so good. Y'all are welcome to like take that with you and share it with all your friends. That's amazing.
That was good though.
That's amazing. So yes, Johnny, we'll go ahead and have you say where everyone can find you.
Yeah, no, straight up. Follow me, Pisano Pictures, Pisano Guy. If it's a Pisano, it's a me. Right now I'm doing a web series called Mythic, and it's basically about our obsession with modern mythology and superheroes.
Heck yeah. Eric?
You can find me at Heartless7 on Instagram, Erric Ramirez on Facebook and Snapchat. Pretty much just acting, doing a show later on this year, pending some things, but we'll see how that goes.
Heck yes. You can listen to the show on Google Podcasts, Spotify, or where you get your podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course right here on Twitch. That would be, I actually don't know. It's one of these sides. It's one of these, the little heart. Go ahead and tap that if you haven't yet. All of our platforms are Nom Talk Network, because we do talk about food and pop culture together, which is just the best deal. Tune in next Monday, same time, 8 p.m. Pacific time, same place, right here, and possibly with the same faces as well. So thank you so much. Until then, I'm your host, Amy Cassandra Martinez. You can find me on all socials at Amy Cassandra MTZ, abbreviation for Martinez. And I hope y'all have a nomorific evening/night. Good night.